That's the person that will continue to grow their influence.
How many of you would love a breakthrough?
Mm-hmm.
You're going to want to pay extremely close attention.
The rules are changing, and if you don't know this information, you're more likely to be on the losing side than the winning side.
I'm really excited about this.
Dean Gracias, Michael Zane, Katrina Ruth, Brian Dice, the one and only Russell Brunson. Sonia Riccati, we have Molly here, Todd Brown, Roman Fraser,
Michael Jeff Walker,
Neil Patel,
Dennis Hughes. And I think that there's a high risk of mass extinction of internet business.
Millions of businesses, big and small, closed, pushing us into the worst global recession in history.
The writing is on the wall because things are changing, things are happening.
Change in the industry that's forcing people to evolve and adapt or basically not.
You need to see this to understand it. Something like that will happen. You can write it in blood.
If there was a tactic or strategy that you were most excited about, what would it be? We can go as deep as you want.
I call this content sprouting.
These strategies work for any social media platform.
If you believe it's a good idea, you should stick with it.
When your business becomes part of someone's identity, that's when you stick.
This is really crazy. I don't know if I ever shared this with you. Waste the least amount of money to find that winner. That's how you win for $1 a day.
Now, I have people that have my list for 2 years that are still looking for emails.
To get this many amazing people in a room, just amazing. We're about to take you behind the scenes. I want you to do this. Amazing. If you want to know what's happening in the future, tune in now.
Hello, hello, hello. So hopefully you can hear me. Let me know if you can. I never know whether this thing is working. Okay, so I'm Rich Sheffrin, and welcome to another live stream. Right now, we have about 31 of you actually who've joined us so far. We got 3 people on my, I guess my personal, no, I don't even know. We got 3 people on my I got 2 Rich Sheffrins here. That's really bizarre, both for Facebook. I guess one is my personal profile. Yeah, and one is my fan page. The other is YouTube, Periscope, and I believe, I don't see here LinkedIn, but I know that we're live on LinkedIn, or I believe that we are. So if anyone is watching this on LinkedIn, let me know that you are here. And also let me know that you can, oh, you can hear me. Great. So welcome to another live stream. Today is going to be very ambitious and also something that actually I'm incredibly uncomfortable about because I got to record some YouTube videos. And so what I thought I would do is interact with you guys for a little bit about each of these, and then record what I need to record for YouTube, and you can enjoy my nervousness and also my mess ups if that so happens. And what we're going to be talking about are 3 things: biohacking, as in ways of improving your performance as an entrepreneur, scaling, some elements of scaling that I think are essential to really grasp, embody, and see the world that way and operate from. And then also some life lessons. And I'm not sure which order. So actually, if you guys want to tell me which order you're most interested in, what I will share is that the life lessons that I shared in the last live stream, actually, I came up with a bunch of new ones. So we're not going to use an article per se. I'm actually going to share with you just a bunch that I believe are incredibly important and some just fun and interesting, but observations I've made about life. So those are the three: biohacking, scaling, and life lessons. And today would be a banner day if I was able to get those 3 videos done. So who knows if I will, obviously. Well, I'm squirrely, right, with my ADD. I'm always trying to get out of things. That's why I thought it'd be a good idea to tell you guys right up front that that's what my intention is. And obviously, my intention is to make those videos as great as possible. And those videos are going to be covering what we're talking about here. So my goal is to make this incredibly valuable for you. And that's why we do these every Tuesday and Thursday. Tuesdays from 2 to 4, Thursdays from 6 to 8. And man, it's been a grueling couple of weeks for me. And it's partly because my schedule kind of got away from me a little bit. I left my schedule open, you know, as far as Calendly links, from like 9 a.m. till 9 p.m. and never really giving it that much thought that now that I talk to more people on the West Coast and also internationally, that people are picking times that are generally later in the evening. Also had an assistant start with me 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago. I don't even remember how long it's been. And so her and I were starting our day at 8 o'clock. I've since moved it to 9, but even 9 to 9 is just a crazy long day for me and something that I'm not used to. And celebrated my 50th birthday this past weekend, took Monday kind of partially off. And in that partial off, at around 5 p.m., I sat in my backyard and smoked a cigar and wrote in my journal and recognized how infrequent I've had that opportunity recently, like as far as being able to sit down and finish my day that early. So I got one more week of grueling hours. And then after that, my calendar is back to being clean. And that's perfect timing because I'm going to San Diego next week for Flight Club. It's a mastermind out in San Diego. So if you're in San Diego, shout out to you and hope to see you. And let's see what else is going on. As far as strategic profits goes, had a great call today with Chris Mulvaney of CMDS. This is Chris. And Chris's company is going to be designing some new websites for us. So that's pretty damn cool. Also spoke to Todd Herman the other day, and Todd Herman showed me his platform, right? And he uses Thinkific like we do, and it looked so much better, right? So I was like, dude, like how does yours look so good? And he said, well, you can reskin it. You know, there are designers for Thinkific. I didn't know that. And I'm like, well, who did yours? And, you know, can you put me in touch with one? He's like, I know one of the best designers out there for Thinkific. I'll put you in touch with him. So he did. And we had our call today. And Matt and I were meeting with him. His name is Rob. Oh my God, I'm drawing a blank all of a sudden. Gavin. That's the last name. And I should know that last name because Rob is actually Mike Filsame's brother-in-law. Just coincidentally, Rob is Michelle, Mike's wife's brother. And Todd Herman didn't know that because actually I reached out to Todd and said, hey, did you know that this is Mike Filsame's brother-in-law? And he's no idea. So I thought that was kind of funny. And also that we are working on getting the Steal Our Winners platform more engaging, more obvious of its value, etc. And so all these things happened just today, and it's been a crazy couple weeks, like I said. So anyway, so those are the three topics: biohacking, scaling, and life lessons. And as always, I try to make this as much of a dialogue and not a monologue. So please make sure to engage. That's how you get the maximum value, and also guide me towards getting the outcomes that you want out of this live stream. So that's kind of the basis of that. And along those lines, if you're watching on Facebook, please give a thumbs up, subscribe if you're not a subscriber, and comment. All those things are looked upon favorably by the YouTube algorithm gods. And if you're on Facebook, right? If you're on Facebook, emote, comment, and share. Sharing is the most powerful as it relates to the Facebook algorithm gods. And so really appreciate it. And if you share it, or when you share it, put hashtag share so I can personally thank you. Definitely want to do that. Let's check in. If you are watching me, please say hello. Let me know where you are in the world. We get people from all over the place tuning in. I'm in Delray Beach, Florida, which is still nice and sunny out because we lost an hour from daylight savings, right? So let's say hello to you, and then we'll get into this, and you guys will tell me maybe which topics to go first, second, and third. Let's dive in. Hey, Renan, good to see you, my friend. And John Sinclair, good to see you as well. Renan is in Brazil, and John Sinclair, you're in Pennsylvania, if I remember correctly. Thank you for sharing it to your group. And Miyuki in Tokyo shared. Thank you so much, Miyuki. Thanks for tuning in at a ridiculous hour for you in Japan. Doug Hopkins. Hey, Rich, the pandemic is going to create more millionaires in 2021 that it is going to crush many records, I believe. Well, yeah, there's no doubt that, at least in the US, I don't know about the rest of the world, so much money has been pumped into the economy that when everything gets lifted, when it finally does, if it does, certainly there will be a lot of money being spent. However, I think what a lot of offline people don't realize is that it's going to be mostly online. It has been mostly online, and that there are many people in the online world that can tell you when the stimulus checks get delivered because they see a sharp increase in their sales. In fact, when the first checks came out, I was talking to a friend of mine who's in a mastermind group of all big e-commerce guys, and he was sharing to me that they had 4 days in a row, right? Like a Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, that were bigger than Black Friday of last year. And that was a function of the stimulus money, which, you know, no big shock there that the billionaires are getting richer, right? Us entrepreneurs aren't doing bad if we're online, and everyone else seems to be suffering. Thanks, John. Thanks, Miyuki. Thanks, Renan. Doug Hopkins works. Cool. Facebook user. Hey, Rich, I scooped up your Smoke In gift card yesterday. How can I get it to you? I will send me a message in Facebook, and then I will message you back. Hey, Jolene, good to see you. And good to see you, Lisa, in Miami Beach, and Ozma on YouTube. In Egypt. Good to see you, Ozma. What time is it in Egypt? You're going to get 3 videos done, Rich. Count on us to assist you. Yeah, I can't let my team or now you guys down, right? Hey, Miboso. Glad that you're sitting side by side with Miyuki, and thank you once again for being here. You'll do it all. I hope so. I got my notes. So I'm more prepared, at least. If I were a giant in the industry like you, sir, I'd have I'd have no nervousness doing any kind of video training. You're the best in the business, sir. I truly stand behind that. Well, you're too kind, John. Too kind. Hi, Rich. What was your last copywriting training that you attended and from whom? Let's see. I think the last copywriting training that I actually attended as a student, right, would be John Carlton's License to Steal. I think that was the name of the seminar. Before that, Clayton Makepeace's seminar, Gary Halpert's, and Dan Kennedy. Those were the events I actually attended as it related to copywriting and training. Good to see you, Giancarlo. Louis in Mexico, good to see you, my friend. Thank you for sharing, Mimboso. Yes, the big 50. And I'm told that I look it based on the lines around my eyes and laugh lines, right? Hey, Chris. Yeah, I mentioned you. Cool. Thanks for the shout out. My pleasure. Great content this month in Steal Our Winners, Strategic Profits. Thanks, Rich. Thanks, Ted. And I got your message. I got your text, and I will text you back, and we will set up a time. Ted is extremely knowledgeable as it relates to LinkedIn. I want to get him in Steal Our Winners. I actually spoke to Ted, like I spoke to a lot of people about a year before Steal Our Winners actually got off the ground, because I thought we were going to launch a lot sooner. And then things just slowed down at Agora. And so I think Ted got forgotten about, and that would be completely my fault. I was totally even spaced about that, except that James Von Elswick was down here, spent a couple nights over this past week, and mentioned to me that I had reached out to him. We had talked, and then I disappeared for a year. And I was like, oh, yeah, that's right. I forgot that I had tried to get this off the ground first, and then actually got distracted with a big project at Agora. Well, hello, Edwina, from the Philippines. Nice to see you or meet you. And hey, Jason in Tampa, good to see you. Greetings, Rich, watching on YouTube. What are your thoughts on life lessons and overcoming adversity? We will get to that. We will get to that, Brandon. And thank you. It says Facebook, but it says you're watching on YouTube. That's so interesting. Did you comment in Facebook even though you're watching on YouTube? I did have a great birthday, and that's because of my wonderful, loving life partner, girlfriend, Kim Deselick, who made it a great weekend. Thanks, Ted. Steal Our Winners is the best content. Ted in Maine. Cool. Well, good to see you, Ted in Maine. And if you want your name to show up, all you got to do is go to StreamYard.com/Facebook. Thanks, Renan, for sharing. Hello, F.A. from the UK, and Peter from Huntington Beach, California. And Ozma's thumbs up. Most interested in your life lessons. Cool. All right. Well, we could start there. It's 12:16 a.m. In Egypt. I hope not late. Nope, you're not late, but you can't be late to a live stream. You show up when you show up. Share it to my group. Glad you're doing well, Jolene. And don't look 50. Definitely look 40, LOL. Yeah, if you saw me in person, that might change. Hi, Rich. Always want to listen in when you speak. Thanks. And S. Christopher Salami. Hello to you. All right. So I guess we could start with the life lessons. So let's see. How do I want to do this? Do I want to just dive into it, or do I want to try and cut it? Well, let's see. Let's see. Okay. I think, well, you know what? Yeah, let me try. I'm going to try and, well, I'll try and be quick on these. I'm just trying to figure out how to make this as to me. Yeah, well, you know what? Let me go through it, and then I'll record it. I think that's probably the easiest way. Yeah, I think that's the easiest way. So let's go over life lessons. Okay, so the first thing is, and like I said, we went over a bunch on Tuesday, but these are going to be completely different. So the first thing is everything that you do matters, right? So I don't remember this story, but I remember the gist of the story. And it's a story of like a manager or a boss or someone giving someone a task to do. And I don't remember if it's complicated or what the rationale was for the person that was given the task to respond with this question. But the question that they asked was, is this a test? And the boss replied, isn't everything. And while it can be quite frustrating, right, that it seems as if as the world has accelerated, as the pace of life has increased, that in addition to that, people's long-term memory has decreased, and more, a large percentage of people have this, what have you done for me lately, right? Like more looking at what you've done for them lately, right? And as opposed to over time. And so when you recognize that, you also recognize that you live in a fishbowl and you're always being judged, and that people place greater relevance and greater importance on what has happened most recently. So everything you do matters, and you never know, right? Which piece of content is going to be the first piece of content that your ideal client stumbles upon on one of these platforms. You're never going to know if the next conversation you have is with someone that has all the answers if you'd only ask. Funny story about that. I was at a Brendan Bouchard event, his 10X event in Manhattan over a decade ago. Was an invited guest, right? And it was his seminar, and I think he presented the whole time. And anyway, on a lunch break, I was sitting at a table alone, and my team eventually joined me, but another gentleman sat down. So it was just me and this gentleman. And I asked this guy what why he was there, how did he hear about Brendan, et cetera. And he had heard about Brendan or gotten on Brendan's list because of an ad in Success Magazine or Entrepreneur Magazine. And as I was talking to him, he was telling me that he wanted to coach, online business owners on how to grow their businesses, et cetera, et cetera. And the whole time, he never stopped to ask me what I do. And I know that, therefore, he had no idea who he was talking to, and that I had already figured out everything that he would need to figure out, that I was already actually the embodiment of what he was describing as what he wanted to achieve. And I left that conversation wondering how many times I might have done the same thing, like been so excited about what it was that I wanted to do that I never even checked in with like the people I was talking to, if maybe they had actually done it or knew stuff or could help me with it. And if I didn't ask, they probably wouldn't volunteer. And I didn't volunteer in that conversation. And so it impressed upon me that like that person messed up a really good opportunity, as I'm sure I have too. And yet, so everything you do matters. Everything is a test. Everything ultimately you might be judged upon. So I would say that is lesson 1, right? Lesson 2, life never gets simpler. It can often get better, but life does not get simpler. In fact, as you become more successful, life becomes more complicated. Now, how you manage that complication, right? How you manage the complexities that come with increasing success will determine whether your life gets better or worse. But it won't get simpler. It never gets simpler. The only way life gets simpler is lose everything, right? Then it gets real simple. But let's assume that we're on a path of progress, right? If we're on a path of progress, then in and of itself, that path leads to greater complexity. The only way that you are able to continue to travel down that path of progress is to constantly take that complexity and then simplify it, figure out systems, processes, ways of handling stuff that allows for then more slack and then to continue down the path of progress and be met with greater complexity. The more complexity you can manage, right, the more upward trajectory is in store for you. In fact, a lot of scaling a business, which we'll get to later, is about simplifying the processes in the business while increasing potentially the complexity of offers and cart values, but we'll get to that later, right? So anyway, life never gets simpler. It can get better, but it depends on you to take that complexity and simplify it. So I'm going to check in with you guys just to see what you think so far of the 2 life lessons, right? Everything you do matters and life never gets simpler. And let's see what you guys have to say. All right. Hey, Rich, always want. Okay. Yep. Hello. Well, I loved your comments, Christy. So we are on the same page. LOL. Yeah, I've often done that too. Watch on YouTube and commented in the Facebook feed. Honestly, the cameras goes 40, shows 40. Well, then I'm not going to get rid of this lens. What's the most important life lesson you taught your daughters that you wish your parents would have taught you? I'll get back to that. I'm not sure, Mimboso. Okay, love that. Cool. Heart. Cool. Great lessons learned. Yes, I'm watching on YouTube on the bigger screen, but commented on Facebook. Oh, cool. I spend more time on YouTube these days and tend to spend less time on Facebook and Twitter. I agree what you said before about reducing or eliminating political stuff. On the input side, I find I sleep better and that the indulgent politics is junk food for the brain. Yeah, agreed. And I'm listening to it when falling asleep, and I know I got to stop. So thanks for the reminder, Brandon, for sure. Okay, so everything you do matters. Life never gets simpler. Next is, if you can't make yourself happy, nobody else can either. Okay, so I'll repeat that. If you can't make yourself happy, nobody else can either. And this is so core, I guess, to a lot of, I don't want to overly label large groups of people. I think a lot of people walk around hoping that something external to them is going to make them happy, whether that's another person, whether that's a certain level of success, whether it's the attainment of a goal, whether it's the BS belief that somehow, someday, life will get simpler and then they'll be happy, or that everything will be checked off the to-do list and then they'll be happy. But life is an internal experience that we mistake as an external one. Life is an internal experience that we mistake as an external one. We all do. I'm as guilty of it as anyone else. But when we have the chance to reflect, right, it's in that reflection that you realize that, well, if you want to have lots of friends, be someone who lots of people would want to be friends with. If you want to have lots of customers, then build a business that you would want to do business with, that you would continue to do business with, right? So if you can't make yourself happy, then that has to be a high priority for you to understand why. All of the research shows that happy people perform better than unhappy ones, period, right? That happiness is much more a fuel of success than success is a fuel for happiness. Progress is a fuel for happiness, but not necessarily success. So if you can't make yourself happy, nobody else can either. If you can't build your business, right? Nobody else is going to build it for you. If you can't, there are so many things in life, right, where we're just hoping that something external to us is going to fix things or improve things or just make things better. And when we hold out that hope too much, we often are met with constant disappointment as our expectations get brought down back to reality. So if you can't make yourself happy, if you can't make yourself successful, nobody else can either. Let's see. Here's a fun one. Don't know how many of you will agree with this or disagree with this, but beware of people who want to give you their business cards. I don't know what it is about people that feel as if like they start the conversation by handing you their business card. But my experience has been that people who start the conversation by handing me their business card are often people that I wish I wouldn't have met. I wonder what you guys think about that. There's this kind of a tangent here, but I think it's related. But of course, to my ADD brain, everything seems related. This was a Wayne Dyer story, and he was talking about he meets a woman on the beach, and the woman had just moved to Naples. I think he lived in Naples at that time, and she recognized him, and she said, "Oh, I'm so excited to be moving down here. Can you tell me, what are the people like in Naples?" And he said, "Well, tell me, like, where are you from, and what are the people like there?" And she said, "I'm from so place, and the people are wonderful, and everyone's very nice, and blah, blah, blah." And he's like, "You'll find that people here are exactly that way." A little bit further down the beach, someone else recognizes him. I mean, it is Wayne Dyer. A lot of people know who he is. And they just moved down to Naples, and they were interested and asked the same question. He asked back the same question: "How are people where you're from?" And got a very different answer, that, people are backstabbing, they can't be trusted, they lie, steal, and cheat. And Wayne Dyer's response was, you'll find people here exactly the same way. And he was not talking about how the people in Naples were. He was talking about what they both would experience there. I don't know what it says about a person when their first inclination, before they know you, before they know they can help you, before anything, they want to give you their business card. It seems like very myopically centered around themselves. That could be part of it. It could come from a tremendous amount of insecurity. It could come from a great desperation. Whatever it comes from, it doesn't telegraph anything good. So beware of people who want to give you their business card at the beginning of a conversation before you even know if this person has any relevancy in your life. Let's see what other ones. Okay, here's another one that might bother some of you, or I was trying to think of ones that you wouldn't have necessarily not common everyday idioms. Let's see. All right, might as well be checking in with you guys since I'm not going to when I record the video. All right, so let's see. So true. I thought that things will be easy when I going to do a website, but it is not. Should I learn how to do it at first, then act? But at the same time, I'm grateful because I learn new things now. Yeah, I distinguish between just-in-case learning and just-in-time learning, right? And it's always better to learn by doing than it is to learn just in case. So, yes. Oh, my God, yes, I live this. True. It's so timely and profound. True. So self-love is massive and so important. Yeah, another quote from Wayne Dyer, actually. This is actually a quote from Wayne Dyer, and I believe this wholeheartedly, right? And it kind of gets into some of the things I guess we were touching on even a little bit earlier. No amount of self-help leads to self-acceptance. No amount of self-help leads to self-acceptance. You either accept yourself, love yourself, or you don't. And it's a trick that your mind is playing on you that other people capitalize on frequently to get you to believe that when you get to a place or when you do this and achieve that you will like yourself more. You'll have more to appreciate about yourself. Doesn't work that way. It never has, right? No amount of self-help leads to self-acceptance. Hey, Rich, you mentioned at WebinarCon that you were much happier working as a team member rather than trying to be the captain at all times. Was that a consequence of life becoming more complicated with success, or can you elaborate? Yeah. Well, one, I didn't realize how much the energy of those around me impacted me, right? Like I was in this one division at Agora where the energy was really low and I thought I was getting depressed. And when I moved to a different division of Agora, like where I was just working out of, that was much more high paced, more energy, I found myself just happier. And it was part of like the amount of things going on around me and the overall mood of the people around me. The other thing, though, that I was really surprised, it wasn't about complexity at all, but I'm embarrassed to admit this, but it is what it is. I found that I would actually make, well, you know what it is? It must come down to values now that I think about it. But first, let me tell you what it is. I found that actually I made better decisions when I felt that I was responsible to people higher up than me. That even though I feel responsible to my team, it's somehow different. And I think that comes down to values, right? That I can't necessarily, like, I probably default at times to being overly nice. I know that might be hard to believe for some people that know me. For other people, they would know that. And, but so I might give someone the benefit of the doubt. When I'm in the capacity of doing that for some other business other than my own, I give much less benefit of doubt. And I'm very much more quickly making decisions about whether someone is going to stick around or not. And I think that is due to a change in values, really, that when it's my business, I feel like I can give the benefit of the doubt because I will pay the price for not having maybe done something earlier. When it's someone else's business, I don't feel like I have that luxury. And so, but at the end of the day, when I reflect backwards, I make better decisions because of that. And so that's something that has stuck with me. And I try to now actually take a more kind of steward, kind of fiduciary kind of way of looking at my own business and my team members so that I can operate at that same level. Don't know if that makes sense to you guys, but certainly for me, that's how it relates to what I was saying at WebinarCon. Life is an internal experience that we mistake as an external. Never thought about it that way. Yeah, well, think about it. I mean, we all, yeah. I mean, we think it's an external thing that makes us feel a certain thing, but it's our interpretation of that external thing, which is an internal thing. Ain't nobody but your personal choice is going to flick your happiness switch except our own choice to be. Totally true, Jolene. I have the same impression. People giving their business cards before we even spoke to understand if there's anything worthy of sharing contacts. Exactly. That is interesting because in film school, they train you to have the business card ready. That's interesting. Yeah, they should update that, I think. Lots of tweetables, Rich. If you can't make yourself happy, no one else will either. If you can't grow your business, no one else will. Life is an inside experience. Most think it's an external experience. So great. Thanks, Christy. Unless someone asked for it, why then give them a business card? They'll only put it away and forget it. Save it for people who ask for it. That's exactly what I think. And I'm surprised at how many people want to give me their business card. Like, what am I going to do with it? I love Wayne Dyer too. It's sad that he passed. I don't have a business card either. I don't see the purpose for it. Just don't. Not waiting for external happiness was a profound lesson I learned in my 20s. It served me well on the entrepreneurial journey. I remind myself every day to enjoy the process and not wait for the goal to bring happiness. Yeah, and Mimboso, that really was the spark that lit the fuse to my midlife crisis, that I thought after I achieved certain things that I would be happy, and I had achieved those things and found I wasn't, which left me in quite a dilemma. I'm just changing what I'm standing on because all of a sudden feeling stuff. It caused a dilemma in my life, and that wasn't good. Beware of strangers flashing their business card. Exactly. Yep, exactly. If they really want to contact you, they will reach out and find you. Laughed out loud. Cool. How can you love someone if you don't love? How can you love someone if you do not love yourself? I think you have to work on that. And that is not easy, right? Not easy at all, because we're very much aware of all of our own flaws. And I'd say that I think if for some reason, when I think about this, Kurt, I think about something that Joe Rogan shared. And Joe Rogan said that once he had having kids totally changed the way he saw people, because after he had kids, he would see people that in the past he would have thought were assholes, just as people who didn't get enough love as a kid. And if he could see them as a kid, upset, trying to be loved, that, he could appreciate and be more tolerant, I guess, of others. And at the end of the day, Clayton Makepeace used to say, at the end of the day, we're all insecure little children, right? And I, as a copywriter and one of the world's best, I get what he was saying, that at the end of the day, we play act as adults, but many of our emotions are still raw as they were as children. We're just better at keeping it all together. And so I think that we are generally our own worst critics, that we will forgive others way before we forgive ourselves. And one of the things, Kurt, that I've mentioned on numerous live streams is that in my journal in the morning, I often write about how I'm going to judge today. What has to occur today for when my head hits the pillow for me to feel like today was a good day. And I find that doing that in the morning is important for someone like myself. And what I mean by someone like myself is that I will switch the rules on myself at some point so that my initial reaction when I reflect on the day is to beat myself up, right? Like it could have been a better day. No matter, even if I got done double, right? Like what I said, I wrote down in the beginning. And so I have to kind of write it down so that then later on I can be happy with my effort and what I brought to the game today. Because if I don't, I will often lie to myself. Like I used to be in this habit of telling myself, I'm so tired. And one day, and this was like a couple of years ago, I caught myself just saying to myself, I'm so tired. And I wasn't tired. And I'm like, why am I like, why do I tell myself this? Right. So just like that, right? Like I'm so tired. I would really look at your internal dialogue, and I would also take a look at where you are. Your negative self is outsmarting yourself, if that makes sense. And I think it should, Kurt, because you know my stuff pretty well. Love themselves no matter how much self-help. Yay, I made it. LOL, how late am I? You're not late at all. Why do people say late? Thanks, Peter. Thanks for sharing. I love Wayne Dyer's quote on contentment. So powerful. I do a lot of creative writing. It's my hobby, passion, and good expense of extra time I have on hand. Well, good for you, Jolene. Hey, Rich, saw a tribute to Clayton Makepeace today. He seems like he was a very happy person. He was a very happy person. He was a great friend. Someone I was fortunate enough to get to know really well. I've stayed at his house many times, both when he lived in North Carolina as well as when he moved down here to Florida. I would have thought he would have been with us a lot longer, and it still boggles my mind that he's not around anymore, but definitely was one of my closest friends. And I will miss him greatly. But yeah, he was always in a good mood. He was someone who had kind of figured that out. You don't really need to love yourself. You just need to be more self-aware. That's a good point, Peter. In Japan, exchanging business cards when you meet someone is built into the culture. Yep. That is true. I would ignore that also in Japan, right? Ohayou gozaimasu. Yes, it's totally sad he passed. I honestly feel he's still very much alive through his messages. Yeah. You can work to love, but it needs time to develop. That's how growing together in love is. Rich, the body knows when it needs to shut down. Listen to it. LOL. Oh, yeah. True that. To love thyself is to feel passion in the belly of your own life existence. Cool. All right. So let's see. All right. All right. Let me riff off another one here. Anyone who thinks letters after their name or certifications they acquire make them successful are never successful. So here's another one right here. Anyone who thinks letters after their name or certifications they acquire make them successful are never successful. And I'll add another one here. So I'll just kind of give you a few here. People who live for the weekend aren't people you want to be friends with. People that lie to themselves will lie to you. Help those who are willing to help themselves, as in don't help those who are not willing to help themselves, because that help will be not really appreciated, not really taken, and therefore wasted. Right? I mean, if there was one secret that I've had to getting like the mentors that I've had, right? Clayton, Jay Abraham, Mark Ford, Michael Masterson, was that whenever they gave me advice, I told them what I was going to do with it, and then I did it. And so I made it clear that I was willing to help myself, which made them more willing to help me as well. So I'll share those three again, right? People who live for the weekend aren't people who you want as friends. Anyone who thinks letters after their name or certifications that they acquire make them successful will never be successful. And help those who are willing to help themselves. And I shared people that lie to themselves will lie to you. Dan Kennedy had one that was, if someone that you're doing business with for the first time cannot give you 3 positive testimonials of their experience or referrals or whatever you want to call it, then you will not be one either, right? Like, in other words, if someone can't provide you with 3 people that they've done business with in the past that would eagerly do business with them again, then guess what? You're not going to be eagerly doing business with them again either, right? And I wonder, can someone tell me if this is on LinkedIn? It's supposed to be on LinkedIn, but I can't tell if it's on LinkedIn or not. It doesn't. I know that I said I was broadcasting, but now, like, when I'm looking at the number of people watching, like, it doesn't even mention LinkedIn, and it should mention LinkedIn with a 0, I think, right? So the other one that Dan Kennedy talks about, and I totally agree, is the most dangerous number in business is 1, right? 1 employee, 1 customer, 1 channel to get customers, 1 way of monetizing customers. Anything in business that has a 1 attached to it, 1 employee who knows how to do this thing, then that's dangerous. On LinkedIn, you'd have to go to, I guess, to my page. That's the only place, like my profile. And I don't even know how that works. I know very little about LinkedIn. I have to talk to Ted more and get educated. Let's check in. And then I think I got to record the first video or we're not going to get this stuff done. Okay. I was watching the Huberman Lab podcast earlier today, and he spoke about the importance of celebrating small steps along the journey for a regular dopamine drip. As entrepreneurs, we're always, I don't see anything more from Nick, but I totally agree, because we mistakenly believe that when we get, you know what it is? I don't think the desk is high enough. That's what's going on. And I can then step down a little bit. Yeah, that's what it is. All right. And I can move this down if that's there. All right. We want to believe that we're going to be different when we reach the destination, that somehow life magically gets simpler. It doesn't. And the hedonic treadmill kicks in after a week or two. So there isn't that eternal happiness no matter what milestone we reach. And yeah, if you're not getting any juice from the journey, then you're going to be sadly disappointed when you reach your destination. Your thoughts on David Deutsch, copywriter? David Deutsch is one of the top, but you're spelling Deutsch wrong. He's in the top 10. David's a friend. Hi, Rich. I'm trying to start a newsletter business, and I would like to share how I can gain credibility. Oh, I'd like you to share how I can gain credibility in my marketplace. Romeo, I promise that if you ask me that on Tuesday, I will answer that question. Focused on the destination, which can lead to disappointment. Yes, totally agree. As entrepreneurs, we're always focused on the destination, which can lead. It did. It led, along those lines, Nick, the way I think about it is that, right, and the way it's been kind of like the way things have been described to me that I've kind of incorporated into it is the be, do, have model, right? So let's say there are 3 ways that model works, right? Because any one of the 3 you could have first. And then there actually are 6 combinations, but some of these combinations don't make no sense. So let's first talk about have, do, be. The opportunity seekers, the dreamers, the wannabe entrepreneurs follow a have, do, be model. If I had certain secrets, or if I had this system, or if I had this, then then I would do this, and I would therefore be that, right? If I had this, I would do that, and I would get that, right? Have, do, be, and then be that. That's a losing proposition. You will experience nothing but disappointment in life, and you will never achieve any level of success that you are hoping for if you follow a have, do, be. Because what that is waiting for resources instead of being resourceful. Okay. The next is do, have, be. Do, have, be is I will do certain things. Because I do certain things, I will therefore earn certain things. I will have, right? I'll do certain things to get certain things. So I'll do, I'll have, and then I'll be, right? So that was really the model that I was following. I will do these things. I will grow my business and therefore have a successful business, have freedom, and therefore I'll be happy. And then what I realized is that I did those things. I had those things, but I was not happy. So that's the do, have, be model. It's certainly better than the have, do, be model, but it will get you success, but it will leave you disappointed with that success, and then you'll destroy that success. So the only model that works long-term is be, do, have. Be who you need to be happy, you have to get there. That's an internal game. Do what needs to, and you will have, right? Like it's a be, do, have world, and that's how you need to be. So thank you, Nick. Wow, jackpot. You got to say this one on LinkedIn, LOL. Which one, Renan? See from the outside yourself from the other person's perspective. Yes. So true, Peter. That's so great. Some people have more degree than a thermometer and aren't successful. But how many times do we tell ourselves we aren't good enough or successful because we don't have those letters behind your name? I never have fallen victim to that. I don't know why. Maybe it's because I take an anti-establishment way of kind of seeing the world. But anyone who certifies people, you have to recognize at some point had to certify themselves to certify. I don't really have a lot of respect for certifications. And Kim will tell you that I don't even really just because someone's a doctor, doesn't mean that I respect them either. Because when are they a doctor that stays up to date with what's going on in the world and all the last 20 years worth of research? Or are they a doctor that was a doctor 20 years ago and just practicing medicine for the last 20 years? I was a big fan of the ketogenic diet 30 years ago when I got my dad to go see Dr. Atkins and saw his diabetes completely reversed. I also saw the American Medical Association trying to take Dr. Atkins' MD away because he was telling people to reduce carbs and increase protein and fat. So the American Medical Association, I don't have any respect for that organization, nor any organization, right? So, yeah, I guess I've just never fallen victim to it, but I know a lot of people have. It used to boggle people's mind, right? That I was a business coach that never got certified as a coach. And I'm like, I already played that game once with hypnosis. I don't see the need to have someone who decides that they're the certification body to certify me. We're on LinkedIn. My profile, I guess. Did a search field and nothing came up. Thank you, Sally. So that could then talk to the problem. I'll have to find out what went on. So all those letters are great to have after your name. If it's to merely state that you studied by someone else's rules, work, or method, is okay, but it's quite contractive and limiting to a person most of the time, then such a person is labeled by these things. I would agree with that. Not on your LinkedIn profile. Thank you. What up, Francisco? No titles matching on LinkedIn for lives. Yeah, that's strange. Okay. Oh. So wait. Oh yeah. So there's no title. You did a search. Okay. The haves versus create. Yep. I'm realizing the same. Be do have. Thank you. Say on LinkedIn your thoughts of having letters after your name. Got it. Soon as those are printed, they are obsolete. Certified people can still screw up. Yep. You are now live on LinkedIn. Looks like it was a time zone thing because it started an hour later than your Facebook Live, Rich. Oh, that's interesting. I wonder why. Oh, let's see. Yeah, it's still not showing up on my thing. Huh. So is it an hour behind or is it just now live like watching this, Sally? That's so bizarre. I stay up to date despite the fact that I am no longer in active practice. That's why I respect you, Dr. Volkman. Your live here started an hour after you're live on Facebook, just an FYI. Oh, and there you just commented. So now let me see if it shows. It still doesn't show anyone on LinkedIn, but it shows you commenting on LinkedIn. Very cool, Sally. Okay, gonna have to figure that out. Education happens when we need to get something accomplished. Yep, that's true. The AMA is a trade organization, very political and concerned with protecting their turf, as every organization is at the end of the day, as every religion is. Every organization ultimately becomes concerned with its own propagation, its own life. That reminds me, for that said, don't wait for something bad to end before your life can begin. Good point. East-West divide. No. All right, so I guess I should record this one first. So let me just quickly go over them. Everything you do matters. Well, you know what? Let's go backwards. The most dangerous number in business is 1. People that lie to themselves will lie to you. Help those who are willing to help themselves and don't help those who don't. Anyone with letters, who thinks letters after their name or certifications that they acquire makes them successful, will never be successful. Beware of people that want to give you their business card before they know you. People who live for themselves, people who live for the weekend aren't people you want as friends. If you can't make yourself happy, nobody else can either. Life never gets simpler, but if you know how to simplify, it can get better. Consequences have consequences. We didn't go over that one, but that should be obvious, that we often focus on the first level of consequences, but those consequences have consequences. The ripple effect. And in our business, that is incredibly important to know. Often, I've seen businesses destroyed because of one bad employee that is a cancer, and that ripples out and infects other employees until a great number of them have to be carved out of the business. So consequences have consequences. Beware of the ripple effect. And last but not least, everything you do matters. So those are the ones. Is the interview with Mark Ford in some near future, or do you not have to? Is the interview with Mark Ford in some near future, or do you not have time for it? I'd like to do a live stream with Mark. Mark right now is in Nicaragua. When he gets back, I think we can cajole him into possibly doing like a half-hour or hour live stream on a Friday night. That's generally when I see him, at the cigar bar where I did the live stream. I think that can happen. But right now, he's in Nicaragua, and he probably will be in Nicaragua until April 1st, I think. But so in April, it's certainly a possibility, Francisco. Rich, do you have any phobias or paranoia or something? No. I have a low-grade depression, if that does that count. I'm a little bit afraid of heights, but not heights like when we're standing on like I used to jump rope on our balcony on the 37th floor, which is only like 6 feet by 6 feet or something. So I'm not afraid of heights, like looking over the top of a building, but climbing up a ladder and going past like 8 feet on that ladder just scares me because I can see myself falling. I saw that weird LinkedIn live delay with Mike Koenigs the other day. It was a bit disorienting. So Dr. Vogelman, though, what's playing right now on, is it an hour behind or is it just picking this up live now? Alphabet soup after someone's name can get a bit ridiculous. I used to tell my patients the doctor was optional. I really enjoyed meeting and speaking with Mark Ford. Nicaragua with, he's probably is with, no, he's not. God, Gene Carlo, your mind is always in the gutter. How are you broadcasting to all three at once? Facebook, YouTube, and LinkedIn. I'm doing it with StreamYard. So I switched from Ecamm to StreamYard, and that allows you to broadcast through all of the different ones. So that's how. Interesting that, yeah, LinkedIn still doesn't come up on that, but it shows that I'm broadcasting there, which is interesting. I don't know what the, I'm just going to look here. Like when I click on this check mark, oh, it says you are live, view on LinkedIn. Oh, interesting. So what does that look like? Hold on a second, guys. So yeah. Oh, I see you're live. Okay. Interesting. All right. Anyway, back with you guys. Sorry about that. How do you think I should start this, guys? And, or are we going to be able to cut these out? I guess we will. Yeah, I just got to start this thing, don't I? All right. Let me get a timer out so that I can just be cognizant of time. And okay. So put my clock here. Timer. And no, not a timer. Stopwatch. There we go, guys. All right. I'm just going to try and nail it. Well, see, like, how do I do this? Because are they going to cut it out? Well, let's try it because I know I'll weasel out, like I said. Life lessons of being an entrepreneur. My name is Rich Sheffrin. I run a company named Strategic Profits, and I help entrepreneurs grow their business and get free of their business. And today I have 10 life lessons for you that are actually live from a live stream I'm doing right now. And I'm taking a break from that to record for you some of the biggest takeaways from this live stream. So I want to dive right in. And the first thing is, the most dangerous number in business is one. You never want one source for customers, one employee that knows something important that needs to be done in your business, right? One source for new customers, one product, one anything in business is a bad idea. One merchant card processor. Anything that is one is bad in business. Number two, people that lie to themselves will also, God, guys, I'm like, my mouth is sticky here. Oh, damn it, guys. Let me start over. Damn it. And if I don't nail this, then we're just going to move on and I'm going to try and nail them all at the end. All right. Yeah, let's do that. I hate to, it's horrible to do badly. And it's even worse to do badly in front of people that you care about. That's you. All right. Hey, Rich Sheffrin here with 10 lessons, life lessons of being the best entrepreneur that you can be from blah. One more time. This is where it gets fun, right? Hey, Rich Sheffrin here with some important life lessons if you're an entrepreneur. See, my job, my day-to-day job is coaching entrepreneurs, and I help them grow their business and get free of their business. And there are certain lessons in life that I've come across that make a big difference in an entrepreneur's life the sooner that they understand these life lessons. So first lesson is the most dangerous number in business is one. That means just having your business reliant on one customer or one employee or one way of advertising or one channel or anything with one is bad news in your business, because if you lose that one, the business implodes, and you certainly don't want that. So the most dangerous number in business is 1. Number 2, people that lie to themselves will lie to you. This is just something that is real. Like if you ever see someone who is lying to themselves, just know this: as an entrepreneur, you can't have that around you. You can't have that in your business. You certainly don't want someone like that working for you. And you really just don't even want them around, because if they lie to themselves, they'll lie to you, and then you can't trust them. You can't even rely on what they're saying, right? Once you doubt someone, they really shouldn't be in your life. Next, number 3, help those who are willing to help themselves. Do not help those who don't seem willing to help themselves. If you want there to be a payoff to the impact that you try to have on people, then you want to make sure that you're trying to impact the people that will actually pick up what you give them and run with it. One of the things that I've been blessed with in life is having mentors that have really been titans or legends of the industry that I serve. Jay Abraham, Clayton Makepeace, Michael Masterson, aka Mark Ford. These gentlemen saw in me someone who would take their advice and quickly act on it. That made them want to give me more advice, and that evolved into being a mentor of mine and a close friend, etc. So help those who are willing to help themselves. Next, anyone who thinks that letters after their name or certifications that they acquire will make them successful will never be successful. Let me repeat that. Anyone that thinks that letters after their name or certifications they acquire makes them successful will never be successful. The hard work is the work in the world, right? It's not in school. And so until you take what you've learned and actually put it in the world, it means nothing. And I find that lots of people, like I was in the hypnosis business, a lot of people would chase after certifications that at the end of the day meant absolutely nothing. At the end of the day, you will be judged by your results. Focus on your results and you will get to the success that you acquire. Which leads to the next one, number 5. Beware of people who want to hand you their business card before they know whether they can help you, serve you, or be of service to you. I find that people who, my experience has been, and that of many of my clients is that people who start a conversation by handing you their business card have no interest in you whatsoever. Now, caveats have to be made here. If you're in Japan or in a country where it's very common to start by business card, then that's different. But here in the US and any country that operates similar to the US, if someone starts out a conversation by handing you their business card first, understand what their priorities are, understand how they're seeing you, and understand what that conversation really is. It's prospecting on their part. Next, people who live for the weekend are not people that you want to be friends with as an entrepreneur. If you're not building a business that you love, then you shouldn't be building that business. That's the problem with the 4-hour work week. If you only want to work 4 hours, then I would strongly suggest that you're in the wrong business, right? You want to love what it is you do, so you have to pull yourself away from it. If you only want to work 4 hours a week, I don't know what you're going to do with the rest of your time. As someone who's been retired twice, I can promise you that that gets boring after a few months. So people who live for the weekend are not people you want to be friends with. Next, if you can't make yourself happy, no one else can either. If you can't build your business, no one else can either. We often think that something external to ourselves is going to change what's internal to us. On the live stream that I said I was on earlier, that actually I'm recording this on, I said that life is an internal experience that we mistake for an external one. There is nothing external that will ever impact you internal unless you make it so. And nothing external can have an internal impact until you've decided what it's going to mean for you. So people who think that someone else is going to make them happy are really relying on external things to change an internal issue. It doesn't work. As Wayne Dyer once said, no amount of self-help leads to self-acceptance. You have to work on yourself first before anyone else's impact can really make an impact. Next, life never gets simpler. But if you can simplify life as you progress on your path towards accomplishment, If you can simplify on that path, life does get better. So life doesn't get simpler, but it can get better if you can make it simpler as you progress down the path of success, because as you get more successful, life gets more complicated by default. Then you, as a successful entrepreneur, have to simplify as you go on. And what else did I have written down? Oh, consequences have consequences. Beware of the ripple effect. This is incredibly important, especially as you look at your business. I've seen countless number of businesses where one employee acted like a cancer and grew in that business, affecting many other employees until many of the employees had to be gotten rid of because the attitude of that whole team got bad because of one bad apple. There are consequences of consequences, right? There are consequences of not delivering a good product. People will complain, right? But then there are consequences of people seeing those complaints. It's often the second order consequences that most people are not thinking of that you as an entrepreneur must think of, because at the end of the day, it's the consequences of your employees' actions that ultimately land on your shoulders as the owner of the business, as the person that founded the business. So what are those second order consequences that you have to be aware of? And last but not least, everything that you do matters. There's an old story of an employer giving his employee or her employee a task, and the employee asking, is this a test? And the entrepreneur responding, isn't everything. And everything is a test at the end of the day. You never know what thing you might be judged on. And now, as life has gotten faster and faster, as the pace of change has gotten faster, right? It seems as if people have less and less of a long-term memory, which means the world is moving more and more, unfortunately, into a what have you done for me lately kind of vibe. And so we are often judged by what has transpired most recently. And you need to be aware of that, and you have to recognize, especially as a leader, as the head of your business, as the entrepreneur in charge, that everything you do matters. You live in a fishbowl. There was a great book that came out over a decade ago called Primal Leadership, Harvard Business Press, that talks about and backs it up with a ton of research that the attitude and mood of the CEO of a business translates into a big disparity in profits at the end of the year, because your attitude affects all the people that surround you, their attitude, and then it ripples out. Consequences have consequences. And so your mood translates through the business and ripples out, which will lead me to one last suggestion. Even though this is life lessons, I want to share this one idea that we just instituted in our business that actually Matt Stafford of BGS recommended to me. And that is that we have a Slack channel in our business that is called Gratitude. And I do it, and everybody on the team does it. And we do three things every day. We say one thing that we're thankful for or grateful for in our personal life, one thing that we're grateful for in our business life, and one thing that we're grateful for about ourselves, like our own, like not anything that's going on, but something about ourselves. And most people don't take any time to actually think about what they're grateful for about themselves, but that makes you feel better about who you are, makes you start to maybe love yourself more. And when we're talking about what we're grateful for at work, more often than not, we're also talking about others. And when we share what we're grateful for in our personal life, it's like the benefit of the whole team going out to a bar every night and talking. We get to know each other's lives better. And that doesn't say anything about the fact that as we're all doing this gratitude exercise, what we're also doing is increasing our own happiness. So we're becoming happier. We're sharing ourselves with team members. We're getting to know our team members better. And we're creating a better environment for us all to thrive in and our business to grow. So that is my tip for you today. Those are the life lessons of an entrepreneur. I hope you got value out of it. And if you did, make sure to subscribe give it a thumbs up, comment below, and I'll comment back at you. To higher profits and beyond, Rich Schefren, over and out. All right, that was pretty good. Not my best, but I think that was okay. What did you guys think? And as we go to that, let's go to scaling. What did I just hit? Oh. Okay. I don't know. So that was like, what did I hit? That was at around the hour and 10 mark, I guess. 1 hour, 10 minutes. All right. I think you guys just say nice things. All right, let's see what we got here. How are you brought? Okay, answered that. Do you reckon the ladders thing could relate to a past life, perhaps? I'm not sure what you mean, Jolene, by ladders. Just start when you start. You always produce great videos. They will edit. Just wing it. LOL. Let her rip. Go, Rich. I am getting a video editor really soon. I'm really excited about that, by the way. Peter Fogel. Hey, man. I bet live streaming would be easy for you being a comedian. Like you're live all the time. Drink first. Yeah, my mouth is like kind of sticky. Everything is accelerated since COVID. Businesses are scrambling to catch up for getting online. Now is the upward momentum going forward. You get washed out in the wave or ride it. Very good stuff, Rich. Thank you. Well done. Thank you. Marketing and selling. Awesome. Cool. Okay. You guys are too nice, but I appreciate the positive feedback. Those were okay. I loved it. I think you had some good points. Brilliant. Bravo. Thank you, Donna. Okay, cool. All right. It was solid. I'll let it go then. Cool. Jesus. Wow. All right. Cool. Today's topic sounds awesome. We'll be listening as I do some copywriting. Hope you're doing good. Yeah, I am, man. Good to see you, Stefan. And I hope you're doing well. And I hope we can catch up sometime soon. Ladders and heights. Still don't know what you mean by that. I can relate to all the lessons points listed and realize there are a few areas I could look closer at personally. Cool. All right. So let's now talk about scaling. Okay. We're not going to make this an entire live stream about scaling. So I just want to drop a few ideas on you that I find incredibly important. First, right? First and foremost, the game of business is like Monopoly. Everything boils down to cash flow, right? In Monopoly, when you run out of money, the game is over. And in business, when you run out of money, the game is over, right? So you never want to run out of money, which means you have to manage cash flow. Cash flow is critical, right? The way you grow a successful business, right, at least online for the most part, is you must have a successful offer. If you're doing e-commerce, those successful offers are what brings people into your online store, right? If you are doing info products, that successful offer is what gets someone into your ecosystem, onto your list. So really, when we're talking about scaling a business, you first have to think about scaling an offer. And if you're going to scale an offer and you don't, unless you have incredibly deep pockets, right, you're going to need to be close to or break even, right, to get that customer. Now, most business owners in the world overall think that you get a customer to make a sale, right? You get a customer to make a sale. Direct response businesses that truly understand like what a back end is, customer value, et cetera, make a sale to get a customer. Totally different, right? So the idea of making lots of profit on the first sale, if we're trying to acquire customers, shouldn't be the most important thing. Now, obviously, if you're doing a decentra model, which we've talked about during these live streams, so not going to go down that road tonight, but if you're doing a descension model, that changes a little bit, but it's still an offer at the end of the day. And if that's what you want to use to grow your business, you got to scale it, which means that cart value is incredibly important. At the end of the day, cart value trumps lifetime value for a small business, because you can only grow as fast as if cart value, right? If the average order value is higher than what it costs to acquire a customer, then you can acquire as many customers as humanly possible, right? Because if you're not losing money by acquiring customers, but you're willing to not make money, you can often grow obviously a lot faster than if you must make money on that first sale. But that all is a function of cart value, which is why order bumps are incredibly important. It's why upsells are incredibly important. It's why bumps on upsells are incredibly important. It's why retention is important in any continuity, and it's why back ends are so important. You know, at the end of the day, right, the amount of money your business has made since its inception is the average lifetime value of a customer minus the average cost to acquire a customer times the total number of customers. That's it. That's the total gross profit that your business has since its inception. So you want to constantly in your business be working to lower the cost per acquisition, increase the average order value, increase the customer value, increase lifetime value. Let's check in with you guys and see if you guys have questions about this, or let's see. Christy, on your Secret Agora Castle video on Steal Our Winners, do you remember the ad company that measures banners and such? The audio went wonky. It was something like ad label. Also, do you remember the secret Facebook pixel? Do you remove your original pixel first or add the secret one as the original one? I don't know if there was a secret Facebook pixel. There was a delayed Facebook pixel. Christy, all of the slides for all of those are in the Facebook group. So you should be able to get them there. And if not, let me know. And then I can always get you the answer. Okay, where am I? Okay. There you are, Christy. Okay. Great insight. Not trying to be nice, by the way. Thanks, Miyuki. All right. When you were saying that you were scared of heights okay. Got it. Yeah. Yeah. Who knows? I think I finally got my Groove page linking thing figured out. I know it's easy. I just keep hitting the right things the wrong way, but I think it's working now. Very cool, Peter. Yeah. I'm technically challenged myself, so I thought it may be from a past life experience. Who knows? It could be. I'm not sure if I believe in past lives or not. I don't know enough to know or not. I got to go. Replay. Have a good day. Cool, Ozma. Enjoy. How many stories have you heard about people seeing their bodies if they're dead? How can they see anything? Yeah. What's your take on SEO in current media environment? Do you ever focus on SEO or just paid ads to scale any business? Does Agora ever pay attention to SEO? I think SEO is incredibly important. I mean, I know businesses that make a ton of money on organic traffic. It's scary to rely on that because then you're building a house of cards and that kind of sucks. But organic traffic is great. I mean, one of the reasons why I'm excited about what Vincenzo and Brent have been doing for me and Nina is that I'm finally, like right now, at least when I look in an incognito browser, I am ranked #1 for digital. Like you got to remove if someone's advertising, but I'm #1 for digital marketing strategies. I'm #1 for how to create an irresistible or an irrefusable offer or something like that. And I'm #1 for how to get new customers. that's insane. And those are people that were not looking for me that now at least have come into contact with something of mine, which is certainly good. That's why I'm recording these videos. Can you share some companies that have mastered the customer acquisition? Sure. Anything by Agora, right? Which would be anything by Stansberry Research, Legacy Research, St. Paul Research, Oxford Club, Money Maps, Banyan Hill, anything by Golden Hippo. And just look up Golden Hippo and you'll find some of their brands. Anything by any direct response business, really, that is large enough, I would say. But those would be two that would be the first that just easily come to mind. In my past life, I was a high school student. Been there. McDonald's. So I do believe in SEO. I think it can be a great way to get really targeted traffic and to increase your list and make more money. The mistake is spending too much time on it or thinking that there's going to be some loophole or trick, because those are just a waste of time. Let's see. Okay, so we talked about cart value. Okay, simplify. I want to sit down for a few minutes. Let's see if I can do that. I don't know what the... Am I going to be too short? No, I think this is okay. All right. All right. So we talked about this, right? About life never gets simpler, but it can get better if you make it simpler. This is like this is probably one of the most important perspectives to have when you're growing a business. You constantly have to simplify. You constantly have to make things easier for people to get the outcome that you're going after. And, you know, it's kind of like right now with my assistant, Sandra, I brought her on, and I know, and she knows, that right now is going to be the most difficult time because there is a shitty onboarding process. There's shitty processes as it relates to me getting my work done. And part of the reason I needed an assistant was to fix those problems and to help me fix those problems. And so you constantly have to take the processes that your business runs on and think about how you can make it simpler to get the same outcome. Anytime you design a system, right, it's about taking a second after that system is designed and then asking yourself, like, how can this system be self-improving? How do I make sure that this system doesn't get worse over time? It actually gets better. Like, what output is going to come out? Who's going to check that output? And how does this system consistently just improve over time? Right? Okay. You guys are talking about past life experiences. I'll leave that conversation in the comments. All right. So simplify. We talked about that. And it takes, like, what would I say? It takes looking at things, right, and figuring out, there's kind of two ways, at least that I look at it. One, can a step be reduced, right? Is there anything here that's non-essential? Because if there's anything non-essential, it can be eliminated. And then the next is can we chunk up, right? Like, in other words, one of the ways that we simplify our lives is by being able to kind of get a higher perspective, being able to recognize patterns and to see what are unique situations, but see the patterns that underlie them so that we are more effective at dealing with these issues. So, you know, most entrepreneurs can tell you about experiences they've had where they've kept employees too long, right? They should have fired someone sooner. That's a pattern, right? That they see in themselves that they made a mistake. But does that pattern change then? Do they now make it a point to bring stuff up with an employee sooner so that they don't put themselves and that employee in a bad situation later by letting people know where they stand every step of the way, right? It's about learning from your mistakes, taking that information, looking at how you do things, and recognizing that things can be done simpler and you can get a better outcome, but you need that feedback loop to improve the process. Let's see. Interesting. Glad to get different views on this. I think guys like Frank Kern mentioned that they don't pay attention to SEO, just paid advertising. Well, that's because that's the only way that you can build a long-term sustainable business. You cannot rely on Google or Facebook to send you traffic, or YouTube or any place else long term, right? So it should never be your primary channel, but just because it's not your primary channel doesn't mean that it can't be a decent channel. Kaizen, constant and never-ending improvement. Yes. Be careful with that. LOL. LOL, Rich. Maybe just change the one you got to the best you can have. We're talking about body. I was just wanting an upgrade or a total redo. Spoken like a true mind mapper, self-organizing pattern system. Yeah. All right. What else? Big difference, right? Recognizing as you grow that your to-do list needs to be a get done list. That there are many things that need to get done in your business, but that you should not be the person that does it. So you have to start looking at, how does this get done without me having to do it? And be willing to invest the time, energy, and effort into getting your business to the point where you don't have to do things. And that doesn't mean that there aren't going to be slips and mistakes and things to clean up at times. But if that's not your intention, then you end up building a business where you're the spoke you're the hub, and you don't want to be that. Which leads me to a really, I think, good way to look at things. How many people in your company are responsible for driving profit? Is it just you? Or are there other people who are sweating the numbers, making sure that at the end of the day, if the profit ain't there, that they're going to do something? So I remember that my ex-wife's had a close friend, Lisa, and Lisa was managing some women's retail store, and would get bonuses based on their monthly sales. And 3 days before the end of the month, they would be calling all of their high-end clients to get them into the store, even open in off hours, to service them so they could hit their numbers. That's what every business owner wants, right? So are you doing those things to make it so? Are you structuring your business so other people ultimately are responsible for profit, so that you have more than just yourself thinking about profits? If you don't, then we're right back to that life lesson that the most dangerous number in business is 1. You don't want to be the only person in your business who is responsible for profit. That's a bad idea. It's the same thing as kind of putting yourself in the middle of your business and having everyone kind of interact with you as opposed to recognizing that building a business is really about building a living, breathing organism that ultimately can live without you, that can grow without you, that can add new products without you, right? It has the ability to live longer than you, to have a greater reach than you, to make a bigger impact than you. And it all depends on how well you design it. Does it allow you to leverage your strengths and not have to think about your weaknesses, right? Something we've talked about a lot. Are there others that are responsible for its growth other than just you? And can you get the cost of acquisition lower than that first purchase so that you really have unlimited growth in front of you? Let's see what you guys have to say. Either way, that's called transformation. Perhaps your next, okay, you guys are still talking about the body thing. I like that. I used to swim in rough current. Okay. Can I ask you why you want a different, okay, this is still that. All righty. So let's see. So any scaling questions? I don't really want to talk about transformation or out-of-body experiences. Don't really feel like my opinions on those matters. The primary force of scaling. I like the way that sounds, Jolene. The primary force of scaling. Let's see. Okay, so let's see what we've covered so far. We've covered you scale a business by scaling an offer. Cart value is the most important thing. That cost per acquisition down, average order value up, customer value up, lifetime value up, right? Simplify, simplify, simplify. As you grow, things become more complicated. As you add more employees, things become more complicated. As you add more products, things become more complicated. As your website grows, things become more complicated. As new channels develop, things become more complicated. All of these things mean that your business is going to become more complicated, which means that you have to fight that complication by simplifying just to even stay at the same level, let alone the additional complications that just happen by all these other things happening in your business. So simplify, 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 which means that your to-do list becomes a get-done list because you're not going to have time for everything, right? Understand that business is like Monopoly. When the money runs out, the game is over. That you have to grow your people. You have to focus on your customers and grow your people, right? And one of the best books I've ever read about growing your people is The Coaching Habit. Great book, easy read. Great. You have to know what the number one driver of your business is, right? So I taught this course on theory of constraints, which is all about figuring out what is the core reason you are not where you want your business to be already. What's the number one reason? What's the root cause? And you do that by looking at a bunch of problems in the business and then doing a root cause analysis. And there's a convergence of causes as you go deeper into the reasons. And so as you go deeper, there are less causes causing more effects. That's on the constraint side. When you remove the constraint, you have the most growth possible because you're tapping into more of your potential. There is something, though, in your business, right, that is the primary driver of your business. It could be the number of customers that are active and defining what active means. It could be the retention rate of a continuity program. But there are specific numbers that can tell you not only about how well your business is doing today, but are an indication of how well you'll be doing tomorrow. You need to know what that number is, and then you need to manage towards it. That's your primary driver. What is it? You need to know it. And then ultimately, you want more than just yourself responsible for profit. So those are the main issues as it relates to scaling. So what do you guys think? Should I even do this one or not? Let's see what you guys have to say. All right. Should you scale ASAP or confirm a few offers? As soon as you have an offer that is working, you want to scale it as soon as possible because nothing good or bad ever lasts. That's another actual life lesson, right? Nothing good, nothing bad ever lasts. That's great to hear when things are shitty. That's not so great to hear when things are great. But either way, nothing good or bad ever lasts. And so if you have an offer that currently could be scaled, it should be scaled because it won't always be available to scale. What software do you use for bump and upsell offers on your website? We use ClickFunnels currently, but Samcart is pretty awesome. And actually was talking to Brian Moran today, talking to Brian Moran tomorrow. He's the owner or founder of Samcart. And Samcart, when you get to a certain, like, Samcart allows you to do things that other things can't. And when you can do things that you couldn't do as it relates to your order process, and upsells and one-click upsells and those kinds of things, it really matters. Emos won't even pop for me. I definitely need an upgrade. What's emos? Oh, wow. Okay. One customer can become 4. How many friends does his or her family members, business associate, are connected with them? Well, one of the big things that I still revisit pretty often is something I wrote in the Attention Age Doctrine 2, which is that part of the implications of the scarcity of attention and attention becoming worth more is that prospects are now not only targets, but they're your best channel. So that, in my opinion, is even more powerful than using customers, right? Because we all have a lot more prospects. And one of the ways that I was able to really grow strategic profits fast was that I was writing these free reports that prospects would share with other prospects, which is obviously much more viral and much better growth than just using customers, right? And in fact, it occurred to me like this past weekend that the 15-year anniversary of the manifesto is this year, June and July. So maybe we'll make a big thing about that. Love the root cause analysis. Cool. Theory of constraints is the best thing. It would be interesting to have the equivalent method for defining mindset constraints, because most of the time for beginners and intermediate entrepreneurs, the constraint is not outside reality. It's inside the world and paradigm. Totally true, Stefan, but it still works in the tools of theory of constraint work, whether it's a logical paradigm type constraint or whether it's a physical constraint. And the top books on theory of constraints make those distinctions. And in fact, when I taught the course on theory of constraints, the majority, I'd say, of entrepreneurs that were in that program, there was more than 1,000, but yeah, they were paradigm constraints. They were internal constraints, the way people saw things. Do you build to retain the business at all costs or build with the idea of selling the business? Tom, you always build with the intent of selling, even if you never do, because you want to have that option. Most entrepreneurs, the wealthiest entrepreneurs got that way by ultimately selling some form of equity, right? Whether that's, publicly, like in the stock market, going public, or selling to a bigger company or something of that. So you always want to be building your business to be sellable, even if you have no intention of ever selling it, because in order to be sellable, it has to be not dependent on you. It has to have processes and systems running it. It has to have a lot of things that, if you do that work, make your life better and make your business more valuable. Product, price, trust. Yes. Do you know Reinhold Wirth? And if yes, what do you think about how he has grown his company? I might know the company. I don't know who Reinhold Wirth is. His distribution model is, for me personally, the best model in the world. What's his business, Francisco? I think this one is good to go as well. Video 2 is getting ready. Depends on where you want to go, Tom. I will simplify, work my ass off to accomplish that. Emoticons. What do you think of Groove Funnels? I think highly of Groove Funnels. I'm a huge fan of Mike Filsaime and coached him early on in his business life. Everyone is a lead till they're not, but always ask for referral. Fight complications by simplifying. Makes sense. Sounds simple, yet not easily attainable. Need to grow a team, which has lots of complications. Need to slow things down to then speed things up. True. So true. Don't forget, a big part is also mental constraints. Sometimes on our own road, mental blocks are the hardest to get past. Yeah. Since your course on TLC is not available, how would you recommend to learn it? Best books, I reckon, are Thinking for a Change, The Goal, and The Logical Thinking Processes. Yeah, didn't I tell you Thinking for a Change and The Logical Thinking Processes? I think both of those are great. Also, you know what? Well, I don't know what Alan ever did with the training that he had. I thought that was really good. That got really hardcore into like the tools of it. You know, it comes down to really mastering stuff on a current reality tree and a future reality tree. And if you can, and an evaporating cloud, if you got those three and you do those well, then you have at your disposal incredibly robust and powerful tools. Do you know around how many minutes are optimal for webinars these days? I've heard 15 to 20 these days of attention span. John, it's the totally wrong question to ask. And I don't mean it in the way you've probably heard answers, right? Because like it doesn't matter how long the webinar is. It matters, you know, one, how engaging it is and all that kind of stuff, right? Of course. But what matters is how long until the call to action. A lot of people who do webinars will tell you that long Q&As afterwards actually continue to make sales. So it's not the length of time. It's the amount of time until you get to the actual offer. Like how soon in the process can someone take the action that it is that you want them to take? That's really what you're racing against. And so I don't think that there's any ideal length, but the sooner that you can get to the CTA, the call to action, the better, right? And then it also depends on what kind of funnel it is. For a funnel that's asking for someone to fill out an application, that's one thing. To sell a multi-$1,000 thing, that's a whole nother thing, right? So what is ultimately the action that you're trying to get people to take? Content value, yep, I agree. Screws, glues, and all kinds of construction supply. Oh, okay. So what were you saying? That I asked a question. Oh, that's what he sells? Oh, no, then what's the name of his business? I'm on it, becoming a student of TOC for the next 3 months. Got to learn the stuff deeply, especially those three you just mentioned. Thank you. I read the choice, blew my mind. If there's a way to get access to the recordings of your TOC course, I would love to go through it. Stefan, hit me up and I'll figure out if I can get you access. If I can get you access, I'll give you access to it. It's tough though, right? And that's the only reason I don't have it out there is because it requires, for many people, I've given it to some of my best clients over the years because they were smart enough to go through it without any help. So with your study skills, you probably would qualify. Focus on the message. Once you've dialed it in, that will be your starting point. Totally agree. All right, so let's get this second one done. I don't think it's going to, I know I'm my harshest critic, but whatever. Let's do the scaling one, and then we can get back into biohacking. Oh, okay. Well, TOC is theory of constraints. That's what TOC stands for. Not table of contents, but theory of constraints. Okay. Oh, wow. All right. And then I think we'll just try the actual biohacking one straight in, I guess. That's what we're going to have to do. Reset. All right. Oop. Let's get her done. Okay. How to scale your business. I'm Rich Schefrin, and in this video, I want to share with you some of the most important elements that you need to know if you're an entrepreneur and you want to scale your business. The first thing to really get is that you're not scaling your business all at once. In fact, the first thing that you must scale is your offer. If you're online, the online world is a direct response driven marketplace. And indirect response, the way you grow a company is that you have an offer that you can grow your business by. In order to have a scalable offer, what you need is a cart value, right? What people spend on average when they check out is higher than what it costs to acquire a customer. Do what customers spend actually bring in more money than what it costs to get that customer? Now, in the outside of direct response, most businesses make the mistake of thinking that you get customers where you make a sale to make money, right? That you make a sale to make money. What direct response business owners get, and the online world is a direct response driven world, ecosystem, environment, is that you make a sale to get a customer, because at the end of the day, your business, what it's worth, what you'll make is the lifetime value of the average customer times the number of customers you have minus, right, the cost to acquire those customers. That's your gross profit. So can you acquire customers for less than it costs? Then less. I messed up. Crap. Oh, God. Have you written the TOC in book form? Highly interested. I've written about it. I've written about theory of constraints in a report called The Uncertainty Syndrome or The Entrepreneurial Emergency. It's called both of those. It's, I think, like I don't know if it's 60 pages, 80 pages, 100 pages, something like that. Let the message be the message, as Katrina Ruth says. Yeah. All right. I'm going to try again. Let me try again. All right. Going to try again. All right. How to scale your business. I'm Rich Schefrin, and in this video, I want to talk about a few critical elements about scaling your business that I just covered right now and am still covering in a live stream that I'm doing online. But Jesus. All right. I promise that I'm not going to go again. I'm going to finish it regardless. Okay. Reset. Start. How to scale your business. I'm Rich Schefrin, and in this video, I'm going to share with you a few critical elements about scaling. I can't do this, guys. I'm totally fried. Oh, this sucks. Let's try one more time. All right. Maybe a totally different energy. Let's try that. How about that? Rich Sheffrin here, and in this video, I want to share with you just a few critical elements that you need to keep in your mind if you're going to scale your business online. So scaling your business online is all about really, making your business bigger, getting bigger, having more success. And how do you do that? Well, the first thing is recognizing that we're in a direct response environment, right? The online world is direct response driven. And in a direct response world, what you have to realize is that you make sales to get customers, because having customers is the name of the game. So in order to make sales to get customers and then make those customers worth more so that your business is worth more and that you grow, what you have to do is you have to dial in an offer. And what I mean by dialing in an offer is to get an offer that is strong enough that you actually, the cart value, what people spend, is more than what it costs to get people to buy, right? So we call that the cost per acquisition. How much does it cost to acquire a customer? And then what is the average cart value? If the average cart value is more than the cost to acquire a customer, then guess what? You have a green light for marketing to grow your business, because you're not going to spend more to get that customer than that customer is bringing with them in that they're spending with you. And that's on average, right? Not in total, but on average with every customer, not any unique one-on-one. So cart value reigns supreme when it comes to growing your business. And that means that you want to consistently work on lowering your cost per acquisition, increasing the average order value, which is your cart value, and increasing lifetime value, which increases by selling more things to customers, right? Getting them to buy more often and getting them to buy other things, right? Those three ways. Those are the three famous ways that Jay Abraham shares as far as growing a business. But the most important thing when you're scaling your business is to recognize that business is like Monopoly. That when you run out of money or cash in Monopoly, the game is over. Well, guess what? In business, it's the same exact way. So you have to manage cash flow. You need to be on top of cash flow, and you need to manage your business in a way where you never run out of money. Next, who's responsible for profit in your business? As your business grows, it gets more complicated. You need to consistently simplify that business, because that complication of the business, that complexity, will lead to problems, mistakes, challenges that will stunt your growth. So as things grow, they become more complex. So you have to make sure that you're consistently simplifying what is done in the business and the way it's done in your business. And one of the easiest ways to get there is, one, to recognize that your to-do list is not needed to be done all by you, that your to-do list should really be a get done list. And one of the first things that you want to have others share with you on your to-do list is the responsibility for profit. So who else in your business is thinking tonight or today about the profit of your business? Is there anyone else responsible? Does anyone make more if your business makes more? Are there other people that are thinking about the profitability of your business? Because if there isn't anyone else thinking about it, then you haven't really built the business that you need to build in order for that business to scale, to grow, and then ultimately to grow without you. You see, I look at entrepreneurship as the closest that you'll ever be to God, because you're actually creating something completely from nothing. It's not even biological, right? When you design a business, if you design it right, you're building a living, breathing organism out of nothing. That it was not there, just your own idea, your own will. And if you do it right, it can grow bigger than you. It can live longer than you, and it can have a much greater impact than you. But that all depends on how well you scale your business. And that depends on cash flow. It depends on average order value. It depends on other people being responsible for profit. It requires you to consistently simplify as you grow. It means you need to understand what is your core driver. What's the one thing that if you focused on, you would know the health of your business today as well as the health of it tomorrow? That's your core driver. It could be the number of active customers. It could be the number of people that you've added to your list. It can be a number of different metrics that you could look at, but you need to know what that metric is. You need to focus on it, and you have to get other team members to focus on it. That's critically important. And you need to grow your people. Last but not least, you as the entrepreneur, you need to focus on your customers. You need to fall in love with your customers, and you need to grow your people. Most entrepreneurs make the mistake of falling in love with their business or falling in love with their product. Don't make that mistake. Fall in love with your customers and grow your people. And if you want to know the best book I've ever read about growing your people, it's The Coaching Habit. You can read it in one sitting, and it is very, very good about what those conversations look like to actually grow your people. And last but not least, if I didn't say it enough, you need to simplify, simplify, simplify. I know I've said that at the beginning, but scaling is so critically linked to simplification that those that don't know would never think it, right? But as soon as you attempt to grow something, you will be faced with complexity. Recognize that that is just for you. That's a message that you need to simplify. You're paving the way for your company, and you have to simplify those things that can be simplified and put in place mechanisms of performance improvement so nothing grows stale in your business. Obviously, there's a lot more to know about scaling, but these are some of the critical ideas that you truly must get. Cart value, simplification, fall in love with your customers, and cash flow. This is Rich Sheffrin to Higher Profits and Beyond. Over and out. Okay, so that's about as good as I'm going to do tonight. And God. All right. Well, I am going to try and record this biohacking one, but I am really fried, guys. I'm going to put this on for this one. There we go. Do I look like a tennis player? Oh, that's off. You can't ever like. There we go. Do you guys know what this is? All right. All right. Okay. Whoa. Okay. All right, this will be interesting. Don't know. Oh, wow. Yeah. All right. Let's see what you guys are saying. All right. All right. So let me do this last one. So that one was short. Hopefully these aren't going to impact. You know what I'm going to do, guys? I'm going to do this one, and then I'm going to end by actually putting on the promo for the live stream. So, I mean, for the docuseries. Okay. So I want to say thank you to each and every one of you for being on this live stream. Thank you for helping me kind of at least do my best to get these 3 videos done, and for participating, for subscribing, for commenting, emoting, sharing, etc. Right? So we're going to just try and do this one take out with no prep whatsoever. I do have stuff here though, so that's cool. And let's get her done. All right. Okay. All right. Just trying to figure out what's the best way to do it. Okay. Okay. Biohacking for the entrepreneur. If you're wondering why I'm wearing this or I'm holding this red light, then you're going to want to pay attention, because these things, believe it or not, can make a difference in your performance, which can make a difference in your business performance. So my name is Rich Sheffrin. I run a company named Strategic Profits, and I've coached many of today's top online marketing gurus, business growth experts, etc. In fact, if you stay until the end of this video, I'm going to tell you where you can get 10 free lessons from today's top marketing experts, absolutely free. But first, let me tell you about biohacking and how it can improve your performance as an entrepreneur. The very first thing is, you're probably wondering what I'm wearing here. Why am I wearing these electrodes attached to my head with this flashing unit right here? Well, this is made by Fisher Wallace. It's microcurrent, and it has been proven to actually increase your dopamine, increase your serotonin while decreasing your cortisol. A lot of entrepreneurs deal with a lot of stress. I actually tend to a very low-grade depression. Since using this, it's not only helped my mood and outlook and kind of helped me overcome that low-grade depression, but actually is just part of my morning routine that helps me kind of reset and take on my day with the absolute best way of looking at life. So if you struggle from any low-grade depression or you get highly stressed, I strongly suggest you check out the Fisher Wallace stimulator. When I got it, it was prescription only. I think now they have a product that's half the price and also no prescription necessary. So we'll take this off, and that is the Fisher Wallace machine. Next, while this is a smaller version of it, this is a Juve light, and I have in my house a full wall of these, and there's a ridiculous amount of research. It's called photobiomodulation. That's actually what the Juve device is delivering. Photobiomodulation. It's infrared and red light waves, 670, I think, or 660 and 800 and something. Those are the two waves. And photobiomodulation has been shown to improve mood, to increase life, to give you more energy. Look it up, photobiomodulation. There's a lot of really good stuff in there about it. And as an entrepreneur who spends a lot of time in front of his computer and maybe doesn't get enough sunlight every day, photobiomodulation helps me keep my testosterone up and just get my body the light waves it needs to thrive. Okay, so that's the Fisher Wallace and the Juve. Next is exercise with oxygen. Every morning, I like to get on the elliptical, hook myself up to an oxygen machine. It's called Exercise with Oxygen Therapy, EWOT. And it allows me to push my body even harder than I could without oxygen, helps me keep fatigue away, and really just drives my performance. In addition to that, I use an app called Quick Reader to speed read, that helped me speed read while I was working out, and an app called Voice Dream, like sleeping at night dream, that actually reads to me and paces at the same time. And I find that actually reading while I'm working out helps the ADD part of me kind of chill out and absorb the information while time goes by faster than if I was watching a movie or anything else, because I'm so absorbed in the book. So exercise with oxygen, with massive information consumption, helps me really kind of make sure that I'm starting the day out well primed to be at my best. Next, stimulants, nootropics, and everything as such. So there are basically three primary, there are Yeah, I'd say there are 3 or 4 primary things that I do as an entrepreneur to really be at my best as it relates to nootropics, stimulants, and things like that. So first are nootropics that I get from what's the place? Nootropics Depot. And some of the things that I like to get from Nootropics Depot are aniracetam, oxiracetam, and subglutamine. So aniracetam and oxiracetam are both racetams. They both have stimulating properties. I find aniracetam helps with my mood, oxiracetam helps with self-discipline, and subglutamine helps with verbal fluency. So I combine those 3 as a stack. I take it in the morning and I find it makes a difference in doing things like this or writing or anything that requires verbal fluency and also a little bit of an up. Next, I also take 2 research chemicals. You got to do your own research on these things, but I get these from science.bio. So it's science.bio. The other one is nootropicsdepot.com. This is science.bio. And I take 2 research chemicals. So these are not approved for human consumption, just to let you know. So that's why I'm saying do your own research. But this first one from Science Bio is 9-ME-BC. 9-ME-BC. And what 9-ME-BC does is it helps regenerate dopamine receptors in the hippocampus. And for those that might have been partied too much when you were younger, this can mean making up for that. And I take this in my coffee in the morning. And then next is bromantane. So it's spelled bromantane, bromantane. This is a very unique substance. It's both a stimulant and an anti-anxiety at the same time. So for those who are familiar with nootropics and biohacking, you can combine L-theanine with caffeine, and that will get rid of the jitteriness and also increase focus. This is like that, but with just one chemical, and it's more powerful than caffeine. It's bromantane, and this, every time I've given this to a friend of mine, they have raved about it. Next are the ones that are not research chemicals and not nootropics from Nootropics Depot, but ones from your doctor. I don't take these very often anymore, but I used to, and I still have them in reserve for when I need to really be at the top of my game. Modafinil, right, which is the brand name Provigil, and then Adderall XR, which are time-released Adderall. These are both obviously by prescription only. They're prescribed to me because I have ADD. There's also derivatives that you can get online, but we'll save that for another time. Next is, many people don't know this, but nicotine happens to be one of the most proven nootropics. That doesn't mean you should smoke cigarettes. In fact, you probably should never smoke a cigarette, but that doesn't mean you couldn't get nicotine through a patch or gum, and it is a stimulant. It does help your brain actually perform better in all the research. There was a long article about this about a decade ago in Discover magazine, and I still remember that. But check it out. Nicotine is a very powerful nootropic, and I'm trying to think what else can I tell you that is incredibly important. I'd say the last thing is high speed, right? That I have found that it's actually easier to pay attention to things when they go fast enough to require my full attention. So I have consistently pushed myself to go faster and faster as I'm listening to audio, watching a video, or reading. What I can share with you is that watching and listening, you can improve your performance, how quickly you take stuff in, very quickly. All you have to do is go past where you want to be. So, if you want to watch videos at 200%, watch some videos at 250% for 2, 3, 4 minutes, then put it down at 200%. You'll see it seems slow. But while you're listening at 250, you got to try and pay attention and get like that, you're trying to pay attention as much as possible. So when you slow it down to 200, it starts sounding pretty slow, even though it's faster than what you normally were listening to before. It's the same with watching video or listening to audio. It's the same with reading. It just takes a lot longer than it does than listening and watching. Listening and watching a few minutes at a high speed and then backing it down, you're going to notice a pretty profound difference right away. With reading, it takes longer, but it's well worth the effort. And an app like Quick Reader for the iPad will make it much, much easier. If you're interested more in how I read and my morning routine as it relates to that, there is another video where I recorded it over about a decade ago on my reading process, probably one of the most popular videos I ever created, and we'll have a link to it right up there. And that's it. So I promise you that if you did these things, Fisher-Wallace, red light, photobiomodulation, exercise with oxygen while also like high speed input, and then the nootropics that make you perform at your best. These were the ones that helped me. The ones from Nootropics Depot, like aniracetam, oxiracetam, the ones from science.bio, that's N-9-ME-BC, right? And bromantane, and then nicotine gum. And there you go. So my name is Rich Sheffrin. I am now going to share with you what I said I was going to share with you, which were how you can get your hands on the top 10 marketing experts giving you their strategies absolutely free. And watch this.
You're going to want to pay extremely close attention.
The rules are changing, and if you don't know this information, you're more likely to be on the losing side than the winning side.
I'm really excited about this.
Dean Gracios, Mike Hussein, Katrina Ruth, Brian Dice, the one and only Russell Brunson. Sonia Riccati, we have Molly here, Todd Brown, Roman Frazier, Mike Jeff Walker, Neil Kelch, that's you.
And I think that there's a high risk of mass extinction of internet business.
Millions of businesses, big and small, closed, pushing us into the worst global recession in history.
The writing is on the wall because things are changing, things are happening.
Change in the industry that's forcing people to evolve and adapt or basically die.
You need to see this to understand it. Something like that will happen. You can write it in blood.
If there was a tactic or strategy that you're most excited about, what would it be? We can go as deep as you want.
I call this content sprouting.
These strategies work for any social media platform.
If you believe it's a good idea, you should stick with it.
When your business becomes part of someone's identity, that's when they stick. This is really crazy. I don't know if I ever shared this with you. Waste the least amount of money to find that winner. That's how you win for $1 a day.
Now, I have people that are on the list for 2 years that are still looking to do that.
To get this many amazing people in a room is just amazing. We're about to take you behind the scenes. I want you to do it. If you want to know what's happening in the future, tune in now.